Going over IRS Form 1095-A, Health Insurance Marketplace Statement. So this is the tax form that you can expect to receive from a health insurance provider if you obtained health insurance through the marketplace, the ACA marketplace, basically someone other than your employer. So when you receive IRS Form 1095-A, you'll see some information that you'll need to report on IRS Form 8962, which is the premium tax credit form. That's a part of your tax return. This is an informational tax return, so it provides you information. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to walk through the information fields. Unfortunately, these are not fillable forms, so I can't unlike other videos, I wasn't able to populate all of this information. So we're going to walk through step by step what you should expect to receive and where you should expect to report it on your tax return. And I will be going back and forth between this page and the article that I wrote specifically about this because there are screenshots that I would like for you to see. So we're going to go ahead and start with the top of the form. So at the very top of the form, you'll see two boxes. One is marked void, one is marked corrected. So if you don't see a check in either box, that means that this is the current version of the form. If you see void, then that means this was a form that was sent in error. Do not use that to file your tax return because what happens is if you file a tax return and then you receive a corrected statement with different information in it, you may need to file an amended tax return on IRS Form 1040X simply to explain away that difference. So if you see corrected, that means the prior version, if you had used that in a tax return, is now void, and you may need to take a look at whether or not you should file an amended return. So most of this is one page. There are three parts: the recipient information, the covered individuals, and then coverage information. So let's start with part one. This is going to be recipient information. It basically reports information about you as a taxpayer, the insurance company that enrolled you in your current policy, and the marketplace where you received your coverage. So in line one, this marketplace identifier, that's the state where you enrolled in the coverage through the marketplace. So in line two, this would be the marketplace policy number. So this is actually information that you would need to report on your IRS Form 8962. So if you are completing Part 4, which is allocating policy amounts, then you would take the policy number and in whichever allocation 1, 2, 3, or 4 within Part 4, you would use the line 2 number. This is the policy number that you would allocate here. If you're not completing Part 4 of IRS Form 8962, then you don't really need to refer to this policy number at all. At least that's what I've seen. Line 3 should be the policy or the policyholder's name or the insurance company that issued your policy. All of this information from line 4 through 15, you're reviewing this for accuracy. So recipient's name, this would be the primary taxpayer in your household. It's probably going to be the person that's likely to have received the health insurance marketplace statements for the household, so on and so forth. So you'll see the name, social security number, recipient's date of birth in lines 4 through 6. In lines 7 through 9, if you're married filing a joint tax return, then you would see the recipient spouse's name. This will only be entered if there were advance credit payments made for your coverage. So a couple of things. One, if there's a social security number here, then there should not be a date of birth. You should expect one or the other, but not necessarily both. So example, if the recipient's social security number appears in here, then this line 9 should be blank. Line 10 is the start date for the insurance policy. Line 11 is the policy termination date. And then the rest of these fields, lines 12 through 15, will be the street address and street number, city, state, and zip code. If it's a foreign country outside the United States, then this would be a foreign postal code. In part 2, the insurance company will name all of the individuals that were covered under the policy, their social security number, their date of birth, their start date, and their termination date. So the covered individual's name will appear here on the left-hand side, followed by the social security number, date of birth, the coverage start date, so the date that you began coverage, and then the termination date. So a couple of notes from the instructions. One, as with up here, the date of birth should only appear if there's not a social security number. If there were advanced credit payments made, then the only individuals that are listed here will be the ones that you certified to the marketplace as individuals that would appear in your tax family. So when you apply to the marketplace, you do have to list individuals that would be in your tax family. Those should be the individuals that are also outlined in part 2. So if you certified to the marketplace when you enrolled that one or more of the individuals who enrolled in the plan are not in your tax family, then those individuals should not appear here. They should have their own Form 1095A. And the example that's in the form instruction says, for example, if you indicated at enrollment that an individual enrolling in the policy is your adult child who will not be your dependent, then your adult child should receive a separate Form 1095A, and that person should also not be listed here. If there are advanced credits made and you certify that one or more enrolled individuals are not individuals who would be in your tax family, then your Form 1095 should include the coverage information in Part 3 that only applies to the folks listed here. So otherwise, if there are folks that aren't in Part 2, then their premium information should not be rolled up into Part 3. If advance payments were not made and you didn't identify at enrollment all the individuals that would be in your tax family, then this form should just simply list everyone enrolled on Part 2. And finally, if Part 2 contains more than 5 individuals, then you should receive additional Form 1095A copies that contain that extra information on Part 2. And then all of that information should also be rolled up under Part 3. So in Part 3, this is basically coverage information at the monthly level. So month by month, line 21 starts the month of January all the way through line 32, which marks December. And then the next line, line 33, should summarize all of these totals. So there are 3 columns. Column A is the monthly enrollment premiums. And so you're going to take this information, and in our article, we outline where you need to report this information. So I'm in the article right now. As you can see, all of this top part, there's nothing that goes onto your tax return from the Part 1. There's really not anything that you would need to put into Part 2, although you want to make sure that it is accurate, but there's nothing in Part 2 that you would put into your tax return. And finally, Part 3, so this is the part where you will take information, and in our article, we've broken it down by columns where each item should go. So for example, column A, this item should match the column A in Part 2 of IRS Form 8962. So you've heard me mention Form 8962 a couple of times. That's the premium tax credit form. So as part of your tax return, you'll be reporting certain information on IRS Form 8962. That's the premium tax credit form. And we'll put links in the show notes to resources about this and any other form or schedule that we mention here. So, so that's the monthly enrollment premiums. This includes any premiums that you paid. It also includes any premiums that were paid through advance payments of the premium tax credit, which is available for certain taxpayers. So let's see. In column A, there are a couple of other notes. First, if you or a family member enrolled in a separate dental plan with pediatric benefits, then this column would include the dental premiums for those pediatric benefits. However, adult dental care and adult vision is not considered an essential health benefit under the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So adult premiums for vision for dental care would not be included in column A. So it would actually, if your premiums did include those costs, then they would be reduced by the amount of the care that's attributed to non-essential adult care. So our article breaks down a little bit more detail on the types of care that are defined as essential under the Affordable Care Act. There are 10 different types. So unfortunately, adult vision care and adult dental care are not considered essential under the ACA. In column B, this is the monthly second lowest cost silver plan. The acronym is SLCSP. So that is used to determine your monthly advance credit payments, the premium tax credit that you can claim on your tax return. So you would take your numbers from column B and you would input them into the column B on IRS Form 8962. And again, the annual totals in this case are in line 11, and then the monthly totals are in lines 12 through 23. So it's a slightly different from what's on Form 1095A. Just pay attention to that. And then finally, column C, this is the monthly advance payment of the PTC. So if you didn't receive any advanced PTC or premium tax credit, then this column will be blank all the way down. But if you did receive advance payments of the premium tax credit, you now have to reconcile them with your tax return. You would take these numbers and you would report them in not column C, column F of IRS Form 8962. So the rest of these columns are either items from somewhere else in your tax return or mathematic problems. But column A goes into column A, column B goes into column B, and then column C goes into column F. So, and then again, annual totals should be summarized at the bottom. There are a couple of other items that are covered in these instructions, but I do try to cover everything in one article so that you see it in one place. And if you want to go to that article, we'll put a link in the show notes to you. And again, my apologies for not being able to actually put, fillable fields with actual information like I normally do in these videos. This just appeared a little cumbersome to be able to try and work around that. So we'll put links in the show notes to any of the articles and videos that we've created that are related to this form. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see covered in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.